Okay, so this prelude in C minor of Frédéric Chopin. One of the distinctive characteristics of this piece is the fact that we have such big, powerful chords on every single beat. It's easy to get tired when playing something like this, and the key to saving your strength is to be sure that you're relaxing in between the chords. So the second I play the first chord, of course, on the impulse, I have to play strongly into the keys, really let my weight drop into the keys. But the minute after I attack that note, I'm relaxed, completely relaxed, absolutely relaxed. I'm not continuing to press into the keys, and that allows me to save my strength in between the chords. On the attack, I have a big impulse, but then after that, relax. Then another attack and relax, and so forth. Nevertheless, we really want to hear the connection in the notes of this melody here, as if these are all absolutely connected, as if I were singing those notes. So don't, with your ears, stop listening after you play the chord. Connect this chord to the next one, and now thinking about moving on to the next chord, and so forth. That will really give this music a sense of phrasing, a sense of continuity. With these big chords in the right hand, we don't want to play all of the four notes equally. If we can, we want to bring out the melody more, the upper note of the chord. So rather than this sort of sound, we want. I'm doing that by really emphasizing usually my fifth finger up at the top, being sure that that note is really strong in comparison to the other ones. Remember again here, the fingerings in the score are mere suggestions. You can use other fingerings, and you can watch what I use in order to have a good starting point anyway. As for the rhythm in this piece, we have a lot of quarter notes. Because the tempo is so slow, in fact Chopin writes largo here, which is a very slow tempo, it helps to subdivide these chords. That'll help keep us steady. And what I mean by that is, instead of just counting 1, 2, 3, and so forth, on every single chord, divide it into 4 smaller beats. We'll count to 4 on each chord, and that'll help us to stay exactly steady, like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And that 16th note there comes exactly on beat 4 when we divide these chords. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it'll also help you to stay accurate with that 16th note in that spot. Now, an interesting side note, some editions at the end of this piece have a big crescendo leading up to the final chord. Chopin was notorious actually for sending different versions of his pieces to different publishers. And so unlike the music of, say, Beethoven, it's a little more difficult with Chopin to know what is the definitive way of performing the piece, because sometimes he tended to change it himself. But if you like it, you can hear where it says pianissimo at the end. Begin pianissimo, and then gradually get louder and louder up until the very end, and so forth, and ending with a big, strong final chord. As for the pedaling in this piece, it's quite straightforward. I simply have to lift the pedal immediately after I play each chord, like this. I begin with the pedal down, and once I press the notes, I lift the pedal up. Once I press the notes, I lift the pedal up. Try to lift the pedal after every chord, just a little bit after every chord, rather than simultaneously. If I do it simultaneously, I run the risk that I get a little hiccup if I'm not exactly accurate. Remember, the pedal should connect one chord to the next. So I play the chord, I play the next one, which connects the notes, and then I lift the pedal up, just a little bit after the chord. Play and lift. It's a little bit like using the clutch if you've ever driven a stick shift, it has to be just a little bit delayed after the chord, and that'll also give the chords a beautiful sort of sound where one chord really blends into the next one. Extremely important, though, to pedal every single one of these chords. They're all different harmonies, and there are a lot of notes in them, so if I don't change the pedal, I get just this terrible wash of sound, which sounds horrible. Those are the most important things to think about with this piece. I hope you enjoy practicing it, and I'll see you in the next lesson.